the chat. Good morning, everybody. It is, I believe, I didn't look at the calendar before I typed it, but I still firmly believe that today is the 1st of February, unless there's a 32nd day in January, and unless I was wrong thinking that yesterday was the 31st. So there's a lot of unlesses there, but I'm pretty confident that it is in fact February 1st today. So happy February 1st to you. The first month of the year is down, out. The miserable weather, well, its days are numbered, although there may be still some more miserable days in the forecast for us. There's a lessening chance of a lot of them with each passing day. So there you go. It's kind of sunny. There's a nice cloud back off to the left there, and some more coming to the right. So basically we're in a little bald spot in the clouds that allows the sun through for a bit. And we've got a work crew up ahead here, so we're gonna slow down so as not to endanger anybody's life. And of course, the traffic has been allowed and he turned it around. Now I got a stop sign, you son of a... Couldn't let one more car go. So we'll sit here and stare at him. Good morning, Gene. Good morning, Barbara. Good morning, Thomas. And good morning, James. How are you guys? So yesterday, we recorded Heroes of Culp's Hill with Charlie Fennell. And I thought that went well. We haven't recorded an Ask a Guide in a while. And, you know, it might be kind of confusing if, you know, one of the reasons someone became a patron was because of the ability to ask, you know, submit questions to Ask a Guides. And then you say, well, they're not doing a lot of Ask a Guides. We're so ahead of schedule. We figured it out. So Dave and I sat down a couple of Sundays ago and we created a release schedule. We looked at all the shows that we haven't released yet that we recorded mostly over the winter last year, but throughout 2023. And we have enough that if you take out the anniversary shows that we've yet to record, if you take those shows out, we have enough episodes to go all the way through to August, maybe even September. We got to June and scheduled those shows, and then it was up to July, and I said, well, let's not do July because we have anniversary shows that come out that month and we don't record, you know, we don't put out regular shows. So we had like, I don't know, 4 or 6 shows left over. That's including Patreon shows. So so that could take us out to August or September. So theoretically, you know, I don't have to record anything now, but I don't like to get behind. I like to have a surplus. That's why I should, because I would make sure that there is a budget surplus in the United States. I don't spend money I don't have. I don't look at all that I have and go, oh, look, we got all this much, let's eat through it. So I'll never do it. I'll never want to. I don't want to get into politics ever. Those are scumbags. But still, it's a so anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so we've got a lot. We've got a surplus, but I don't want to fall behind. So I said, listen, it's winter. Winter is the time to record episodes. It gets crazy in the spring and summer, and there's less time for everybody. Let's do it all now. Anyway, and then we'll be that much ahead into 2025. So that's what we're doing. So when you're, you know, so like the patrons that were watching us live stream that last night, you know, if you enjoyed it, I'm glad you enjoyed it because, and you can go and revisit it. But, you know, everybody else is going to see it probably at least in the last half of this year, the second half of this year, if not early next year. So that's the, and you know what's crazy about it is, because of that, we had recorded a show in, it feels like it was March, but over the winter last year. And I released the show a couple months ago, and someone said, he died. So the guest died, and I didn't even know it. And I don't know the guy, so he was just a guest who wrote a book. Well, not just a guest who wrote a book, but he was a guest who wrote a book, and came on, and that was it. And so apparently he passed away. I had no idea. So I'm not saying, maybe somebody will die and years later their episode will come out. So that was a good one. So anyway, we were supposed to also do a live stream with Chris Gwynn yesterday afternoon, but Chris had to reschedule for that. So I don't know what date he and Dave settled on, but we're going to do one of those live streams where we talk about the interpretive programs coming up in the spring. And you guys, I'm going to open the phone line so you can call in if you want to ask Chris any questions and all of that jazz. So I'll let you know. That will be free for everybody. That is our public service that we do, is the park services. We let them use us as a mouthpiece if they want, when they want, and we're happy to do it. We think they do a great job. So what was the other thing? Oh, yeah, so anyway, the whole point of the story was my afternoon freed up. And 6 Questions, Lentz was there, and so he and I went for a walk up around the square. And I was like, maybe I should just go home and take advantage of this found time and, rest. And he goes, I think that's what you should do. And I said, all right. But then we were talking about an idea that I had run by him a while ago for shorts to do on, YouTube and all that stuff. And I said, okay, I'll go home and rest, but first let's come up with a list of topics. So then we went back into the studio, came up with a list of topics, and then I went home and rested. And Major was happy to see me, I guess, because she was very hyper and would not leave me alone, and so I couldn't get any rest. However, I did watch a new documentary that just came out on Netflix. I forget the name of it, but it's something to do with a night of music or something, the biggest night in music history. I forget what it is. But it's about the making of the "We Are the World" song. And generally, when a group of celebrities get together to preach to people, I want to vomit. But I was a little kid when that came out, so I didn't, understand that just yet. And all I know was, there was a video with all these famous people that I knew, and it was a catchy little song, and so, I liked it as a kid. Now it's kind of cheesy, but, it's still cool to see all those famous people in their prime, many of them dead, getting together, singing and stuff. But it was very interesting how that all came together. It came together in 3 seconds. And I exaggerate when I say that, but it came together in a very short amount of time from conception to recording. And the trick was recording it the night of the American Music Awards, right after, because everybody was in town. And so Quincy Jones, Michael Jackson, and Lionel Richie had all been working for a couple of weeks on the song. And they had sent demos out to all of the musicians so that they understood got the song. But what I didn't understand was why Dan Aykroyd was there. I know he was in the Blues Brothers and he can sing, but I don't understand what he had to do with that. It's all these musicians and Dan Aykroyd. I don't think there's another non-musician in there. Anyway, that was interesting. So how are you all? What are you up to? What? Somebody's got to have something new that happened in their life that they want to share with us. Why don't you share something good? Oh no, not even. It doesn't have to be good. What's ever dominant in your life today? What's new with you? And maybe we can all discuss it. Good morning, Catherine. How are you? Did you stop at Sheets for Coffee yet? I did not, Catherine. I did not. Catherine, are you new here? I don't think I've seen your name before. Welcome. Happy Bill Murray. Oh, is it Groundhog Day? I thought that was tomorrow. Is it the 1st? Kind of freaked me out with the Wednesday thing. Sorry, didn't mean to do that. I don't understand what that is. Rich, Matt, just a quick note before I leave for work. The Heroes of Culp's Hill with Charlie and Mike was great yesterday. Just wonderful. Thank you, Rich. Andy says good morning, and I say good morning back to you, Andy. Eric says good morning, sir. Confused about the day of the week again. It's February 1st, not Wednesday. What? Oh, it's Thursday. Today's Thursday. Yesterday was Wednesday. Well, good. Let's mess with people. Listen, you're lucky I know what year it is. Or maybe I'm lucky. I don't know. Somebody's lucky I know what year it is. I enjoyed Peter's lecture. Well done. Yeah, that was really good, his lecture. I love how he mixes personability. You know, he's a personable guy, and history and insight and a touch of the dramatic. I think the way he ended was great. I like how he's working the room, getting in there with the audience, all that. And then by the end, he kind of retreats to the podium and lowers his tone of voice and brings the story to a sad end, and then just gives a nice thank you. I think that is artistry, and I think more historians need to find that within them, and I think a lot of them do, frankly, today. And I've had this conversation with Pete and Jen Murray. I think in Carrie Janey too. I think I talked about this with her. I can't remember, but I know I had her in mind when I was proposing this idea. But I don't think we're going to do it. But I had to, last year at the CWI conference, I noticed that speaker after speaker after speaker was like, no one was boring and stuffy. Even the guy you thought was going to be boring and stuffy was not boring and stuffy. And I said, either my preconceived notions about who historians are or were has been wrong all along, which could still be the truth, or there's a new breed of historians who understand that in order to engage, you must entertain. And you could probably debate why that is, that all of a sudden now you need to be entertaining. Like, it's not just enough to provide information for people. I have my theories, but that's not the point. So, I don't know. I think it's great. It's like, you should be entertained while you learn. I think that's a great way to learn. I've always been told that, and not very often, but I mean, there have been moments in my life where I've been told by people that the fact that I made them laugh was what set me apart from someone else who tried to get the same result from them. And because you remember that, I guess, is the point. And I remember that too. So when someone makes me laugh, they get through to me. and I remember, or there's a better chance that I'll remember more of what they say than someone who doesn't. Because someone who drones on and just gives dry facts hypnotizes me. You know how when like you're driving home from work and you get home and you can't remember the steps of the route, and you're like, how the hell did I get home? Right? Um, that's that's kind of how I am after listening to someone who's rather dry speak, because they hypnotize me. Like I've fallen asleep to the Ken Burns Civil War 300 million times. I mean, like every night for probably 5-6 years, I fell asleep with that in the background. And you would think that I subconsciously know a chapter and verse, and I do not. But what I do know is the tone of it. And all I can hear is that tone, the way it's paced, the whole thing. Because it lulls me to sleep. Even with the sounds of battle, it lulls me to sleep. So I don't remember, unless I sit up and watch it, I don't remember the facts shared. Now, the problem is, if I were to try to sit up and watch it, I would end up falling asleep because I'm conditioned to sleep with the Civil War. And that's not a slam against the Civil War. That's, like, to me, the highest compliment. In fact, people will send me a message, or they'll even comment in the comment section on like the YouTube version of the narrative episodes, and they'll say, they'll preface it with, this, I mean this as a compliment, but this is so great to fall asleep to. And I'm like, yes, that's like the best compliment you could give me, because that's what I modeled it after, was the Ken Burns stuff. And that's the result I get from listening to Ken Burns. So I think it's awesome that you get the same thing out of my stuff. So that's like the highest compliment someone could pay. Now, if it's one of the other episodes where it's a discussion and they say that, then I'm like, well, I don't know. That's too much of a compliment. But whatever. It's McCullough's voice. Yeah, absolutely. It is, and you're right, because his other films are paced the same way, and the tone is very similar. But without David McCullough, they don't have that same effect on me. Although the guy who does, I think his name is Peter Coyote, he does the narration for Vietnam and a couple of others. I think he's like the next best thing to David McCullough. Like, he's really good. Hold on, I'm going to pull over here because there's a lot of enjoy Peter's lecture. Okay, happy days all. We can use the I in the chat again. Yeah, so people were having problems with their comments being seen, and I couldn't understand why. And the reason was because you guys might remember a while ago, we were doing a chat, and then like a bunch of bots came in and started throwing out racial slurs, one in particular. So I went in, I don't know, it was a couple weeks later, I was like, oh, I meant to block that word. So I went in and blocked that word. One of the things they were doing was leaving one letter comments, spelling the word out. So one of the letters is I. So I blocked just the letter I. Not realizing that if you say in your comment, I am tired today, you're going to go to moderation. And I couldn't understand it. I got all these comments like in the, requires moderation column or whatever they call it. And I was like, this is perfectly innocuous, and this person never says anything bad. This is a regular commenter. Why are they being thrown over there? And then somebody said it's like every time I use the word I, and I was like, oh. So I removed I, and the rest of the letters are there because nobody. The other letters are not proper words like I is. So I think we'll be okay. All right, let me see. So there you go. So if you had problems, you might be able to do it again. Peter Zach, I see you. I see you. I thought you couldn't comment. Welcome, Peter. Glad you're back too. So it's the I. It was the I. Where did I leave off here? Enjoy Peter's lecture. Good morning, Peter. Good morning, Connor. Jumpmaster. Little Round Top should be ahead of schedule with the winter we've had. I don't know how much time they lost with that snow, but I did see them working there. Andy says, we hope. Good morning, team. Good morning, Dragoon. Sarah says, morning. I am glad I was able to see this stream before I get ready to get back to work. All right, good, Sarah. I'm glad you were too. Andy says, planning my trip this weekend. Also, my birthday is almost a week after Matmas. Well, that's got to be tough, sharing a birthday with Matmas, right? My niece, unfortunately for her, she has to share it with Christmas, which is not easy. Ty Webb says, Dan Aykroyd was supplying the Coke for everyone else. They all felt bad and let him in the video. Okay. Happy Thor's Day, Matt. Thank you, James. My work is a pretty fun place. I literally get to be surrounded by kids at school today with in a room with food. Well, the food sounds fun. The kids, that would kill me. I couldn't handle 10 minutes. Eric Houston, and I have no problem with kids. It's a room full of other people's kids that I can't stand. Welcome to the world outside of the studio. Yes, indeed. Going back to the ancient days of Homer, good historians were all great storytellers. That is what makes Matt Atkinson so good to listen to. Yeah, I agree. Make history real and relatable. That's right. Shelby Foote was a great storyteller, adequate at... Yeah, well, that's the thing. He was a great storyteller, so he got more FaceTime over real bona fide historians who are like legends. It's McCullough's voice that makes me sleep. Yes, that's me too, Barbara. Michael Peterson says, I fall asleep to AGB or other podcasts, but sometimes I won't. What's AGB? Oh, Addressing Gettysburg. Not awake yet, folks. Sorry. I haven't had my coffee. Dragoon says, Troy Harmon also does a really good job by doing history at a higher level by considering other... Yeah. I think it's very important. In fact, I think we talked about this yesterday with Charlie. And I can't remember what it was. I wish I could write well enough to make a book, Andy says. Well, you could have tried to start with that comment. Peter says that Ken Burns Vietnam documentary was amazing. Yeah, that was pretty good. I got to say, that's my second favorite. The war... I was really excited about it, but it didn't do it for me. But Vietnam made me feel things. It made me angry that our government wasted an entire generation's youth. I mean, just abused them by sending them there, and I think that was terrible. And I'm no hippie, but I would have been back then if that were the situation. Whatever, I don't know what I'm saying. It was Peter. I was admittedly concerned about how he'd handle it, but he did it well. Yeah. Eric says, Andy, are you heading down to Gettysburg this weekend? Heading down to Carlisle Friday, says Peter. Andy says, yes, Saturday. The wife is going out to California, so I have time to take my youngest. Are you going to the lecture, Andy? Come to the lecture. The lectures are fun. You should, if you can, if you're close enough to get up here on a Saturday or a Sunday, there's 2 lectures a weekend. They're not the same one, so it's 2 different ones. Come on up or down and enjoy the lecture. Enjoy the company. There's a lot of the same people show up. And if you show up often enough during a season, yeah, you a conversation with a couple people and you get to know some people. It's I really enjoy it. I look forward to it. Honestly, I look forward to it all year long. I wish they kind of did it in the summer on a regular basis like they do in the winter, but outside, you know. I mean, they do stuff outside. You have the battle walks and stuff, but like, I don't know. There's something about, or even inside, but do it at night or something, you know. Maybe you do it once a weekend or something. Maybe who knows? It's probably they don't do it because no one would show up because it's what's the word I'm looking for? Summertime, and people have lives in the summertime. Speaking of lives, thank you to everybody who got tickets to the Taco Tuesday Trivia Night on a Saturday at the Seminary Ridge Museum. Actually, it's at the seminary with the Seminary Ridge Museum and Ragged Edge. It is sold out. So if you were thinking, oh, I'll wait until it gets closer to the date, sorry. It is sold out. Another thing that seems to be selling well so far are tickets to the March 16th show that we're doing. Tim Smith, Gary Edelman, Spotlight On. Get to know them as we record a show in front of a live studio audience at the Adams County Historical Society. I don't know exactly how many are left, but there's less than half of them left. So if you've been on the fence about that one too, tip yourself over to the I'm Going side and get them. And then a note, I decided last night, after thinking about it for a while, that these in-person shows, I think after this year, I'm not going to do them anymore for a couple reasons. One, how many times can the same group of people buy tickets to essentially the same show, even though we have a different guest and it's a different venue? How many times are you going to actually, can I really realistically expect you to come? Yeah, you know, if we had an audience of millions, that's fine. We could probably expect that there would always be a good enough turnover where we'd have fresh people in there. But you know, I can tell that I just get a sense that the regulars are kind of not into it anymore. And so so there's that. How many times can you come to see the same thing? Also, it's a lot of work for me. And, you know, in the last year or so, I've heard, you know, grumblings about ticket prices and stuff. And to be honest with you, the amount of stress and work and anxiety and headache that it gives me is really not worth it for me to do it than less than whatever my take of the ticket is. And you know, if that's a problem for people that I try to make a living, I'm just not going to do it that way. I'll do it other ways. So it's a headache. Why is it a headache? Because I'm a one-man show. Even when I had a committee to help me plan it, when it came time to do the show, I was the roadie, I was the tech guy, I was the director, I was the producer, and then I had to be the host. But all that work leading up to showtime is exhausting mentally. And then by the time it came to do the show, which is when I'm supposed to be well rested and on, I was kind of exhausted, and I just kind of let the show lead me. And that's not the way to be, and I was never really happy with my performance at any one of those things. I always thought I did a subpar job. So until I can find a skilled crew of people to help me produce the show, and that may be never, I don't think I'm going to do them anymore. So this is going to be the last year that we're going to do them. The one that we're doing in March is so far the last show, in the sense of it being like a recording of an episode that we're going to do. The one that we're doing in July is a concert with Billy Webster. Now I have to sell a certain amount of tickets there to make it doable, because Billy and his band come at a cost. So, you know, I'll have a certain date. If I don't sell a certain amount of tickets by that date, I'm going to cancel the show. and because they ain't cheap. So that'll be in July. That's July 27th, I want to say. And so we're talking with Billy about all the stuff that we're going to need for that. And that should be good. Billy's doing, for those of you who don't know, Billy's the guy who does the music for the podcast. So Gary Owen and all the songs that we play during AG Today and then elsewhere. He did a whole album of Civil War songs a couple years ago, which is available for sale, by the way, at billysongs.com. And I gotta tell you, I don't like most modern music, but I like what he did to these old songs with modern styles. And I do find myself listening to the album, and I forget that this is a guy I know and professional musician, and so I don't know. I think it's great, and I wouldn't push it if I didn't. So yeah. So if you want to hear him perform it with his band, it'll be in the summertime. It'll be outside. It'll be nice, evening. It's definitely going to be bring your own booze. If people are into barbecuing or meat and coming to the in-person shows where we did or episode formats Ask a Guide or whatever, then your last chance. Now I say might because who knows what might come my way. If an opportunity comes your way and it's a good opportunity, I'm not going to say no to it, but there's really nothing that I have planned for the rest of the year to do another one of these shows. I was gonna do something in the fall, but I don't know where or what I want to do or who I want to have on and all that. And I was just like, you know what? It's just one thing I don't actually need to do. It's kind of too much of a headache. And to be frank, last year after the Adams County show, every cent that I made after I paid off everybody else went to pay my tax bill. So I don't even get to actually use it to invest in my business. So yeah, so that's that. This is the last year I'm going to be doing any of those. So if you like them, it's your last chance saloon here. Andy says, I met a former intelligence officer who got fired for warning his superior about how long Vietnam was going to last. He was interesting. Yeah, isn't that interesting how they do that? Oh, that's right. After the lectures today, there's a cemetery walk. We're not allowed to film it, so there won't be any film of that. So if you're interested in that, and I don't know what the topic is, Eric, you might be able to help me there. I don't know if you're interested in that. You might want to actually show up because there's no recording allowed. Read An American Amnesia by Bruce Harkins and Know What Happened in Vietnam. Read it and Know What Happened in Vietnam. Excellent read. I will someday. When I retire, I'll have time to read all these books. Andy says, I want to make the lecture, but with a 3-year-old it may not be possible. Yes. However, Andy, prior to the lectures, they have a kids program. You should look into that. Peter says, I have met a good number of Vietnam vets with extremely crazy stories that blew my mind. Oh, I bet you have. Andy says, I want to say hi. Sarah says, will there be any streams the week and weekend of the 161st anniversary? Well, I'm going to try to make it a live stream on the opening day of Little Round Top, whenever that is. We're going to hang out up there for quite a while. and talk to people as they come up to get their reaction to it. Um, for the anniversary shows, or for the anniversary days, we always put out um, audio, episodes, audio episodes. I I would love to put out video episodes. I've been talking to some people about doing, videos like that kind of go along with the narrative. I want to put visuals to the narratives, but we somebody and one guy called me and we had a discussion about it, and I gave him the section of the Fredericksburg battle, and I said, go ahead, put this together, and he just slapped together a demo, and I said, okay, I like where you're going with it, and then I'll have my ideas to complicate everything, and but that's the main problem is me. I don't want to do things the way I see everybody else do things. And it's not that I'm so unique. I'm not saying that, because everybody's derivative of everybody else. We all kind of do the same things. But it's just there's certain things that, can be avoided. But that means they'd have to be created. And the time and people who know how to do these things, like like AI images, for example. I know people that know how to do it, but they're so time consuming and they've got lives, and I don't have a budget to say, well, here, quit your job, you're working for me now, or here, for working on this in your spare time, I'll give you X amount of dollars. So it'll happen, it'll get there, but I got to be careful not to do what I typically like to do, which is everything all at once right away. So eventually we'll get to videos of the for the anniversary days. As far as live streams go, you got to get permits, and I got to be choosy with what I'm getting permits for, because I have a lot of ideas that would not. The live streams are like, and I know I do them all the time, so I'm not, I'm fully self-aware here, but live streams are like the low-hanging fruit. You know what I mean? It's like anybody can do a live stream. So what I want to do is where we actually put something together, we shoot it with purpose and perhaps a script, and throw some art in there and edit it together and release it when it's done. That's kind of more what I want to tend towards. And not only that, but like, how am I going to compete with the trust? Gary runs around all day, every day, doing those live streams. I'm not, I know where I stand in comparison to these other entities, and it's like every single one of them, I'm looking way up and I need binoculars. So I'm not going to, I don't know. It's just, for me, it's not worth it to do something that the trust is doing on the same day that the trust is doing it. Other guys do it, and and maybe they get some traction from that. I don't think, I think they're maybe a little bit more appealing as hosts or personalities, that they can do it and will find traction with it. I don't think I have that. I think that what people want about our show is the variety of guests that we have, and I don't think it has anything to do with me. So if I were to go out there and I'd have to have a guest who is more popular than Gary Edelman. If you find one, let me know. Hey Matt, are you doing any events in the next coming months around springtime? I plan on heading out there again and want to plan it around an event if possible. Thank you. Hi, Catherine. All right. Well, we have our Get Out of the Car tours, which are the third Saturday of every month, except for May, which is on Memorial Day weekend on Saturday, and July, which is nothing. We don't do one in July. Why? Very hot. Nobody comes. Because nobody's coming to town, believe it or not. After Bike Week, like, visitation drops off until late September and then really picks up in October. I heard somebody saying, I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard somebody saying that October is now the busiest month of the year and not July. And it makes sense to me. A lot of people say, how could that be with the battles in July? Yes, that is true. But you are from a generation that cared about American history. And dare I say, loved it. And the people now who are younger come to Gettysburg, young families that is, come to Gettysburg more for, unfortunately, ghosts and, apple picking and pumpkin spice lattes, and it's a cute little old town. Like, they like the aesthetic of an old historic town, but they don't give two shits about the history. Not all of them, okay? So don't give me the, well, that's not true with me. Yeah, I know. But a lot more, an increasing number of people in that, young family age, that's what they're all after. And so they're not coming for the history. They'll drive through the battlefield and they'll take a tour because they might as well, because we're here. But, they don't look at it the same way we did or do. And that's just, I don't see how you can fight that. It is what it is. That's how they're coming. That's why they're coming. And then, you got to live with it. So October is a lot nicer, first of all, weather-wise. It's cooler. You got the colors of the leaves, which people like. And, it gets a little chillier at night. It's nice to sit and snuggle around a campfire or something. And so there's a bit of a romance to October. July, everybody stinks because they're sweating. It's not very romantic. Who wants to come at that point? So we just found that, after during, I think it was 2 years, after the second year, we noticed that July had like the least amount of people, and it was a drastic drop, like maybe 50%. And so we were like, well, why are we bothering if we have 90 in June and 93 in August? Why are we going to do one for 40 in July? So we're like, okay, we do it for, well, Lewis doesn't do it for free, but like I do it for free. I put it on for free. I don't charge for them. So, if I'm going to do something for free, then I want to see a lot of people here. And, so 40 people was good in the beginning when it went from, 13 to 40 from the first to the second tour. That was a nice jump. But then once you get used to 80 or more, you kind of want to see at least 80. So, yeah, so we don't do it in July for several reasons, and those are the reasons. But any other month except for May, they're the third Saturday of the month, and the schedule is on addressinggettysburg.com under the events tab. And, you go and find them and see which one fits best for you. You don't need to register, although I plan to create some registration links just so that we can get an idea. It's always more than the number we have registered, but I just want to get an idea of what it is. And as far as events, if you mean like live show recordings there, Catherine, I just explained it. We got one in March, and that's probably the last one we're going to do. And then there's a concert in July. Andy says, bought the album as soon as I saw it. And what do you think of it, Andy? Do you like it, or did you just buy it to be a helpful supporter? Like, do you actually enjoy it? I gotta say, I really do. I actually enjoy the music. I think he did a great job with it. You know, it takes an artist to go in and hear a song cold, and then find a new style for it, like like modernize it, and make it make sense and have it. Like, I love his version of the Battle Hymn of the Republic, because it's kind of like this bluesy groove, and I'm like, where the hell did you ever mix the Battle Hymn of the Republic with blues in your mind? But he did it, and it works for me. I think it's great. And then there's another one, All Quiet Along the Potomac Tonight. It's kind of like a country song, and he's all over the place, but I think it's great. And I said to him, you know what I love about you, and this is, he's put out a lot of albums, and they're all this way. So you know what I love about you, Billy? Every song on your album is like a completely different style than the one before. And I said, I think that's so great. It's so interesting. And he's like, really? Because he goes, that's why I was always turned down by record labels, because they didn't know how to sell me. And I was like, and he's like, and then I didn't want to conform, because it's my music, man. And he's like, but here I am, 50 something years old. So whatever. I think it's great stuff, regardless of whether a record comes. In fact, he may not like it, but I'm glad the record companies didn't corrupt him. Well, A, I wouldn't have ever met him, and B, his music would be boring. So, good for him. Good for him. The walk is African American veterans buried in the cemetery. That's right. Ty says, I still say they should have a concert to open Little Round Top, invite the Little River Band, and call it LRB on LRT. They can also play Reminiscing over. All right. I was like, okay. Ty's done a lot better, but then you threw in Reminiscing, and then that sealed it and got the laugh. Jumpmaster says the old on-field Aska guides were good. Hessler and the Peach Orchard was fun. Yeah, we're doing them again this year. Let me ask you this. Last year, did you all like adding the town guide in for the town perspective? Because we have a new idea this year to do with town guides, and I want to do it with Brad Gottfried. It'll require a little more editing on my part, but I think it'll be a good idea. I don't know if Dave has actually booked them yet, but we will see. We will see. So, and I would love to do videos of us sitting out there recording those episodes. The problem with that is I'd have to get a permit to do it, and all I would do is set a tripod up and have it point at us the whole time. I don't know how interesting that's going to be for you guys. Eventually down the road, let's see how this first year goes of, trying to produce videos on YouTube. I have a meeting coming up with Chris Gwynn about doing more stuff with them, and there might be a way to get the ideas that I have to see fruition with a partnership with the park. So let me see what's possible and plausible and probable and all the ubles, and I'll let you know as we go through. One thing, though, that I would like to do is cover some of the events that the Park Service is doing. Like, for example, opening Little Round Top, opening day, I want to go there for that. And I'll get a couple of battle walks uh, up there as well. Maybe a few other ones too. It depends on the time that I have and when these things happen and all that other jazz. So we'll see. We'll see. Time is a very precious thing. Not a lot of it. And it's very confusing because apparently today is Thursday and I thought it was Wednesday. Even though I woke up this morning knowing that I had a show to do tonight featuring Jake Schindel from the Ragged Edge Coffee House. He'll be making the tacos for Taco Tuesday Trivia Night on a Saturday. So be there or be square tonight talking to Jake. Jake's a cool guy. Now, I haven't had his tacos, but I have had some of his other food, and I must tell you, I found it delicious. And you know me, I love my food, and I'm a food snob when it comes to certain things. And that was just as the catering for that event that he did was just as good as anything I'll find at a Jersey caterer, like at a Jersey wedding or something like that. Because you know, there's really good food up there. I can't lie. I can't lie. The one good thing about Jersey is the food. And I moved to Pennsylvania with the waistline to prove it. Okay, Matt Atkinson could give Gary a run for his money and popularity. Yeah, but the park doesn't do that yet, so we'll see. For us older folks, the heat in July borders on dangerous. Well, that's true, Gene. That's another thing, is the heat for a good chunk of the population, and I believe I'm entering into it, is a bit overwhelming. Guys, a Hallmark card in October. Yeah, it kind of does. From October through New Year's. Serious study is done in off months, no leaves, visible terrain, and wonderful, peaceful quiet. Yep, it's true. Gene says, I wish the MPS would have battle walks in October when the tourists are thick as thieves. Might expose them to some history. Yeah, that's a great point. I'll bring that up to Chris. I love the album. I use Marching Through Georgia as a ringtone to the annoyance of all of my non-history people. That's awesome, Andy. Thank you. Andy says, I love the town guides. Never knew there was a separate town guide thing. Yeah, good. I'm glad that we were able to make you learn that, because there is. And you can do one day, you come to town, you do a 4-day weekend, you come one day, do a battlefield guide tour, and the next day you do a town tour. I love more town guide episodes. Okay, Gene, we'll get more of those in the mix. I think I have one in the can still, but we don't have a lot of them. I see, it's funny, a lot of the town guides are shy. And, you know, Brad Gottfried comes on to talk about his books, and I love talking to Brad. I've tried to get him to come on more as a town guide, but he kind of defers to the others. Well, Roseanne Zyko, who does a great job, she's really the only one who's willing to do it repeatedly. Not that I don't like having Roseanne on. I'm saying I like a variety of people, which is why we have a variety of licensed battlefield guides on. But yeah, we'll do more town tours. I know Roseanne likes doing it, so I'll ask her if she wants to come on and do a couple more. Is there anything, Gene, that you would like to hear in particular? Sarah says, where can I find Billy's songs? Well, that's funny, Sarah. It's billysongs.com. Not Billy 'S songs, just billysongs.com. It's called Marching Through Georgia, his album. Peter says the town guides are very interesting. Yes, they are. Michael says, have you seen an influx on views from the national park after you started filming lectures? They have a mail to link. That should have been fixed. Michael, let me know if that's still doing that, because we pointed that out to them a couple weeks ago. I am seeing that the videos are doing better in the first 24 hours than my average video does. I have gotten a couple hundred more followers since we started, but it's not the spike that I thought it would be. And again, this is why I say, you know, people might not want to watch a live stream of me walking around the battlefield without a guest, because I think I turn off more people than I attract. And I think, some of the other guys who make themselves the historian and make themselves the focal point of it, um, they get more of an audience because they're not as off-putting or obnoxious or annoying or as stupid as I am. So uh, it, some people can handle all that if there's a serious and good, compelling guest on. So that's why I don't do those. Where was I? Yeah, so I think, Michael, like the reason I'm not getting as many subscribers, like a huge spike in subscribers that is commensurate with the spike in views, is because people take a couple looks at other videos and they go, "Oh, this guy's a fucking asshole," and they don't follow it. Ty, see, Matt, you're in your own Groundhog's Day. Still thinking it's Wednesday. Did you wake up Sunny and share this to Sunny and share this morning? No, I woke up to the dog jumping on Dragoon. Not a fan of eggs out of a mermite container. Oh, he's talking. Okay. Master said, whatever happened to the gal whose name escapes me, who did a lot of shows? She seems to have had a rough one a while back and haven't seen her on since. Jessie. Oh, Jessie Weedleton? Nothing happened to Jessie. I used to see Jessie almost not every day, but I used to see her quite often because of Getty's Bike. And because she worked for Getty's Bike, or still does. And, the studio was at Getty's Bike in the office. So, sometimes it was easy after a tour, she would stick around. But really, Jessie, to be honest, Jessie didn't like doing them because she's very self-conscious and she's very worried that, every word she says is weighted and being listened to and parsed by someone else who's then gonna call her out. And I've had a couple of guides decline an invitation for that exact reason too. And I mean, look, I'm not part of the guide force, but I know people who are, and I witness them from the outside looking in, and that's exactly the way a lot of them are. So I don't blame them. Problem is, those people who are that way are not being heard as much as you are when you come on the show. So screw them. And I tell Jessie that people love when she comes on and everything, but she's kind of shy. I'll still work on her. I'll try to get her back on because I do like when she's on too. I think she's got a good sense of humor. So what does it say about all of us if most people think you're annoying? We must be annoying too. Well, probably, or, well, I guess so, right? I was going to say, or you don't find me annoying, which would mean then that you're annoying because birds of a feather flock together. Who knows? Who knows, Eric? All I can tell you is I think I turn off more than I attract. Gene says, Town Guide topics, care of the wounded in homes. All right, I think we have one of those on That's What She Said coming out with Ken Rich, I believe. Noteworthy Gettysburg citizens, that could be a good one. Soldiers hiding in homes, I like that one. That's a good one. I bet the Town Guides could come up with a topic. Yeah, you'd think. We always put that out there, and sometimes they do, but not always. We'll do more town shows, but it'll be like a year from now when they'll come out. Sorry, but they'll be free. Some of them. Ty says, newspapers and podcasts are forever. You make a mistake, it's always there for people to see or hear. Yeah, no, I know, and that's what worries some people. The thing is, though, we're oftentimes, look, when someone isn't sure, they say, I'm not totally sure about this, but I think it's blah, 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 or something to that effect. And so if someone then wants to ignore that part and then only talk about the mistake, well, there's plenty of us out there who would defend this person and say, that's why they said ahead of time, I'm not sure, but this. And then afterwards they said, but you might want to look that up yourself. Because they often do that. And so, but they're aware of what assholes are out there, and they take things out of context, and they don't give you the line preceding it that kind of qualifies it. So I, I mean, yes, the news, unlike a newspaper, the podcast is the full conversation. And if you hear a clip of a podcast, you can always go and find the whole thing and hear that clip in context. Of course, nobody wants to do that because nobody actually wants to be fair to people, but that's the way it is. Jumpmaster says, yeah, I couldn't pick apart a guide on a show. You're there doing your best trying to teach folks, and oopsies will happen. Absolutely, Jumpmaster. Peter says, would be interesting on the reparations after the battle that were submitted. Oh, that would be a good one. Not many got much. Good morning, Marcia. How are you? You have a wonderful day as well. All right, well, so I'm going to go in, get my coffee, get my breakfast, go and edit and post a show for Monday. You guys have yourselves a wonderful day. I'll see you tonight. Jake Schindel, 5:30ish this evening. And it'll be fun. It'll be fun. Other things going on. I don't know. I got to figure out what other things we'll talk about. So you guys have a good one. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.